Hey kids, how are you? Welcome to yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Full house today as Chris Buccanati joins us as well here at Quaker Steak and Lube. The dear Goon joins us remotely, and it is good to see your big mug again, dear Goon. How are things going for you?
It's been a while, buddy. I mean, a whole week. I'm okay. I'm getting through. We're getting through here. So, just away at the in-laws' house for the week, having a good time, chilling, relaxing. Wife's birthday and the 4th of July this weekend.
No more fun in the sun for you this week. We're getting dumped on with rainstorms here. Same deal for you.
We had a couple days that were really nice, and then the last 2 days have just been. Well, I volunteered myself to do some landscaping around the yard, and I said, we can wait till Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday to do that. It's been raining since, so yeah.
Well, you can always check out AccuWeather, brought to you by Noah Kane.
No crap, man. Unbelievable. How you boys?
Not too shabby. But we'll get into some other stuff, but I do have to give a quick shout out here to our good friends at the State College Spikes. They had kids take over the park night last night. And the Dear Mad Turtle, my stepson Reggie, had the opportunity to do the public address announcing for the what would it have been, the bottom of the 4th inning, and it was pretty cool. He had an absolute ball with it, and it was cool. They had kids doing all kinds of things. One of our neighbors' sons was an assistant for the Lion Country Kia mascot, Lucky, so that was cool. He was out there holding up the K strikeouts, and they had kids. There's another kid that did some play-by-play with Joe on the radio, and they had a scoreboard kid that was in with the scoreboard. So it was cool. It was a fun night. All of the bounce house and kid zone stuff was free. So Reggie had a pretty good time getting to do some announcing, and then I think he was in the bounce house for probably a good half hour to 40 minutes total, because there weren't long lines at the beginning. There were no lines, so he was in there like by himself for about 5 minutes at the start, which was always my dream as a kid. If you could get an amusement park to yourself or a bounce house to yourself, sign me up. I'm all in. So kudos to the Spikes, a very good time, and thank you to Jeff Brown for being so kind to dear Reggie with the public address announcing last night. But that's a cool concept, and a lot of fun was had by all. And I was also thrilled to see that among the beers that they have now, is one of my favorites was there in the Unraveled from Founders. So I was a happy camper as well, as it turns out.
Good for you.
So a good night at the park, despite a tough loss for the beloved Spikes.
Tough second inning, right?
Yeah,
that a rough
touchdown
one.
went up in the second inning. Mahoning Valley got the touchdown and kicked the extra point, and that was about all she wrote.
Oh.
But it was fun. It was a fun night at the park, as it always is. We're going back on Sunday for the 4th and the fireworks. And I was told last night that I think they're getting if that is something that you're thinking about, you might want to pull the trigger sooner rather than later. I'm told that they're getting pretty close to full house here for Sunday's festivities.
I've heard that too. It's going to be the largest crowd since their opening day when they started a few years ago. So yeah, I'm expecting the largest crowd, and it should be a great day. I mean, the whole day, the baseball game, everything for the kids, and then the fireworks then. It's a perfect freaking day, man. Yeah,
no, it should be a whole lot of fun. Hopefully a lot better, and it's supposed to be a lot better than what we're getting today. This would be a bummer if the 4th was today.
Very true.
Way early.
Absolutely. Well, Armageddon has begun. College athletics as of midnight. I don't even know what to. I really don't know what to make of it. I'm reading and listening to all kinds of stuff, and
I know what to say first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to recognize Goon, our guy, Jeff the Ironhead Byers here. So,
Yes.
So Tuesday we were talking about what was going to happen today, the day the bomb dropped, right? And I said to Ironhead, give me your 5 programs you think will be the most likely to have the first like big name athlete with a big name deal from a big time program. And he and I had 4 of the top 5 the same: Oklahoma, USC, Clemson, and Texas A&M. But now my 5th was Florida State.
Yep.
And Ironhead nailed it with his 5th, the University of Miami. Derek King, the transfer quarterback from Houston, who's a Hurricane now, is cashing in.
No, listen, I know my sports. I told you that, and I also told you if you're betting on the NBA that the Suns were done. The Clippers had figured them out, and it was going to be the Clippers in 7. So
to be fair, you did tell everybody to go out and bet on the Suns.
I did. I said the smart money now, because of my thought process, would go out and immediately lay money down on the Phoenix Suns. And if you did that, congratulations, because that is exactly the way that played out. They bounced back and weren't fazed at all by the Game 5 heroics, if you will, of the Clippers, and took care of business. And so much for my theory on them being too young to maybe really be able to handle everything that is involved in getting to the NBA Finals. And I am going to be interested. I may actually check out a little bit of the NBA Finals this year just to see how this thing kind of plays out. And I might not either, because, there's other things going on. But there's an outside chance that I could end up doing that.
I don't know, man. I still can't get into it. I mean, I watched a little bit the other night, and I just could not believe what I was watching. I mean, we said it with the Sixers before, but I was watching some games the other night, and it's unbearable, unbelievable, bad to watch, but just a bad product to watch. So, but that's not what I want to talk about today.
What do you want to talk about?
I want to say this. I am not that a crudgety old ex-player, miserable, pissed off sumbitch that everybody thinks I'm going to be with what I'm saying. I am more worried about the dynamics of a football team. That's just where my issues come in. And who is doing all of this stuff in regards to the NIL. This is my only problem. I 1,000,000% support the players going out and getting everything they possibly can. But it needs to be controlled. And we have seen in the past that the NCAA cannot control anything. So now, I mean, like Ironhead, you hit the nail on the head a couple months ago and said, listen, the teams that are going to cheat, they're just going to cheat more. I mean, they're doing it now, so what's different, right? But now it's sort of legal, so I got some questions.
I think everybody has questions. Fire away.
So what are the 3 things are not allowed? They're not allowed alcohol, gambling, and is there a third one? Coach, do you know?
Well, I know for BYU, you can – I'm not making this up. You can add coffee to that list at BYU.
Stimulant.
Yep.
It's an absolute stimulant.
Yep.
So
cannot be obviously paying the student athletes.
So I was just going through with my friends, my old teammates, talking about who would have sponsored us back in the day. I mean, this is my favorite part is, I mean, obviously the Rathskeller would be number 1. I mean, would Joe flip out if you're wearing a Skeller? Like symbol across your jersey, right? Blocking up the Nike logo with a Skeller or a Unimart logo. So I know gambling and I know that alcohol, but I mean, would the Rathskeller would a restaurant not be allowed because they sell alcohol, or that's my one question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I get it.
So 2 others, Goon, you'll probably hear tobacco. I think might not be universal, but you'll see that a lot. And adult entertainment.
Damn it.
Yeah. So
now, what did the Miami guy sign up for? Which sounds really, really awkward. I know it's a video game thing, but
so he has 4 now. So the first one they announced was
the one that says hunks that move you, and they come on, it's a little suspect.
Yeah,
it's a little suspect when it comes to that.
It was not what I assumed it was when I actually ended up opening the article. I'll put it that
it's way. A moving company, right?
What's that?
It was a moving company of some sort, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, I got a bunch of questions, and I'm just going to rattle them off. I mean, they're more jokingly than anything else, but my 150% biggest problem I have is the agents being involved now. So you're hiring a service to go in to do your bidding. Okay. Well, I have Chris Buchinani here from, he's our left tackle at Penn State. What can we get him?
So the quarterback's in trouble.
But what's going to happen though is, Booch is. It's again. I go back to the dynamics of the locker room, but I mean, again, I'm losing myself because I have so much I want to spit out to you guys right now. But locker room is my biggest issue. But the agent does not get paid a dime until he gets money, right? So he's Edgar Snyder pretty much. So he's going to push you and this and that, to try and get you anything he possibly can. And then, we think the agent is 4%. That's for contract negotiations. When it comes to any kind of, in the NFL and the pro sporting world, it's 20 to 25% is what an agent makes when he gets you in endorsements. So now you're losing 25%. So my issue is I know how my father would have been when I was 17 or 18, and I didn't have an older brother who played here. Let's just say that. My father would say, why give somebody 25%? Why can't I do that? The NFL, and then you have the neighborhood guys, your buddies, and this and that who are going out. My problem is the NFL has a very, very, very strict guidelines of who can be a sports agent. Correct? You must be licensed by the NFL Players Association and the NFL. So now we're starting at midnight today. We have guys doing negotiating deals. I mean, who's negotiating them? Who is getting that money? Who is pushing these kids? You know what I mean? There's just so much that I'm worried about. I mean, okay, and then I always go with the worst case scenario. So, Ironhead, you had an autograph signing last week that you missed. Now you're getting sued. I got to miss practice, coach. I'm getting sued for an appearance I missed.
Oh. Yep.
And just just something as stupid as that. I mean, I'm just talking about the agents. I'm talking about the agents who are already crummy, because when I was looking at a couple weeks ago with my buddy getting recruited, his son, Coach Franklin said the only people they worry about are agents, because the agents are going to make you make bad decisions when it comes to money, as in leave early for the NFL. Because the NFL, the agents are going to say leave early, leave early, leave early, even if you get a rookie contract and don't get drafted, they will still get paid. So would it be the best interest for you to stay another year to get better or this and that, or the agent is going to say, you know what, let's go pro? Scares the hell out of me.
Yeah, I mean, there are a ton of legitimate concerns, and I think until we see it all play out, it's kind of hard to know exactly what the impact of this is going to be on football in general, college athletics in general, and then on with specific schools. And it's not in a completely different way, but it's like COVID in that I don't think this is going to hit everybody or everything the same way. Booch was bringing up interesting points, because I've just been kind of in my mind, everybody was in terms of the big deals was going to go after football and basketball players, because that's where the most recognizability is, and that's where the big money is in college athletics. But listen, we truthfully, we saw it with Carl Nassib. His jersey sales went to number one on the NFL jersey sales list with his announcement. And there are more businesses, which is what Booch was saying, right, that are wanting to be seen as I don't exactly know how, more diverse, more open-minded, whatever, and that there may be a lot more opportunities here for female athletes than what I was thinking that there would be. I still think the biggest national deals are going to go to your star college football players and star college basketball players, but there may be a lot more opportunities. I've been talking with a few folks in the wrestling community. By the way, trying to project the Penn State wrestling lineup next year is becoming pretty interesting. There's a lot of guys that it looks like maybe moving around. So
good way, bad way.
Might get into that a little bit later. Well, I mean, we'll see how it all shakes out.
You mean weights, not schools, right?
The talk. What's that?
You mean weights, not schools, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I'm sorry. Yes. So, the question that I've had from a lot of people is, what happens here with Max Dean when he comes in? Is it just he or Beard is out of a job? And supposedly, and I haven't confirmed this, but I've talked to a couple people that not coaches and not anybody within the program. Nick Lee did tweet out something about Roman Bravo Young moving to 41, which presumably would mean Lee would move to 49. What I don't know there is if Bo Bartlett is planning to stay at 41 and battle it out with Roman, which would be, I got to tell you, one heck of a battle. I think you have two of the really elite guys in the country there at 41 if that's what happens. Or if Bartlett, if they've talked and Bartlett feels like he can get down to 33. I'm not sure. It feels like that'd be a pretty good pull for Bartlett, but I don't know exactly how significant of a pull it would be if he starts now and, with the training of that in mind. But the other, at least rumor going around is that Carter Starachi may drop down to 65 to create the opportunity for Max Dean to drop into 74 with Brooks at 84 and Beard at 97, Kirklead at heavyweight, which I got to tell you, if that lineup occurs and if everybody is able to hold and maintain weight and be healthy and all that. I mean, you're talking about at least 6 and probably really 7 legit national title contenders in that lineup next year. So we'll see. It'll be fun. Anyways, that's a tangent. But
hey, where are nationals next year? Detroit?
But there's a yes. Yeah. I'm not I know a lot of things have changed since the last time we were there. I was not enamored with Detroit, our first, the only go around that I've had there with Nationals. So hopefully,
what state is that in?
It'll be a different venue. What's that?
What state is that?
What state? Michigan.
Detroit.
Michigan.
That's all that needs to be said there.
Oh, yeah. Well, true enough.
You're good. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Like I said, we got to go to Michigan.
Yeah, you gotta hold your nose every time. Yeah, I don't know. Of all of the nationals I've been to, I enjoyed the surrounding. The wrestling itself was fine, but the getting to and from the venue was an effort there, and there was nothing around. That arena, it was. Well, I mean, it was brutal.
Answer me this: how was Philadelphia? Because that was before the Xfinity Lounge was built.
Yeah, I don't know. For and maybe it was just because of the there was a large Penn State contingent, and obviously the excitement of Penn State being in the race and then ultimately winning it. But you knew Penn State was at least going to be in the mix. And obviously, with it being in Philly, there was a strong Penn State contingent. We didn't have. I don't know where we stayed. There was plenty of stuff right around there, and I thought for the media at least. I mean, it was efficient and effective getting in and out. I didn't have anywhere near the problem in Philly that I did in Detroit in terms of just the kind of negotiating the getting to and from the arena, and then again just being able to find a decent place to eat close by to either the hotel or the arena, just one or the other. But
I got you.
So
of my 4 or 5 that I've gone to was Cleveland. I mean, as a fan, you just walk out and you have a choice of 40 different restaurants and bars to go to.
Yeah, no, I've always loved St. Louis. I still think St. Louis does a great job, but yeah, I thought Cleveland was with everything that they had right there within 2 blocks of the arena was just absolutely phenomenal. But those in the wrestling community are saying that they really do think this is going to be a good thing, obviously for Penn State wrestling. But I'm talking with some folks that think the timing of this is maybe good for the non-revenue sports in that this is an Olympic year, and if schools have and or sports have, prominent alumni or student athletes that have success over there, right? It may help in terms of the administration say, well, no, yeah, we're looking at economic factors and all this, but my God, we've got to figure out a way to keep this program going. And advertisers may look at it and say, man, look at the ratings that swimming got. Look at the ratings that track and field got. Maybe we ought to start looking at some of these athletes and give them some proper attention and try to align the stars on the local front for some of those athletes as well. I don't know. I'm really curious to see how this whole thing evolves over the course of the summer. And listen, I'm curious to see how it's handled here at Penn State and what the impact is.
Yeah.
Because Penn State is a little unique. There aren't many schools, Stanford and, maybe a couple of the other Big Ten schools, Ohio State and Michigan. There aren't many schools that have as big of a following of multiple sports as Penn State does, where, again, the star field hockey player, right, is of note in State College.
Yeah.
Right. That's not necessarily the case at, in, I don't know, Champaign, Illinois or whatever. But I do think here, certainly women's volleyball, wrestling, and then obviously football, basketball. Those are, that's easy advertising opportunities, I think, for local businesses to tie in with those student athletes.
Yeah.
But again, I think all of these programs, and hockey, I should have thrown hockey in there too, but I think all of these programs, women's gymnastics has a really good following. Baseball, this might be smaller followings, but it is a passionate core group of fans. And then you have the fans, there are the fans that go to as many of the events as they can. It's part of why they retire here or settle down here, is that they're big sports fans and big supporters of Penn State, and they'll go to 5 or 6 sporting events in a week and think nothing of it.
Well, and without touching on how it's going to hit Penn State at the top level in the revenue sports, like, you're making me think about the fact that probably for a lot of the Olympic sport athletes, there are going to be opportunities to do small deals. Like, they will be, there'll be people who would be a good match with local regional businesses, and those businesses won't have huge ad budgets to spend, but they could get a lot of bang for their buck by aligning with a player from the women's volleyball team or the baseball team or wrestling. Although I think there's actually going to be more money in wrestling than the other sports because of the passion of the wrestling fan base, if you're targeting that group. But hey, you make a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, the business benefits, you benefit. It could be a good deal for people who could previously couldn't make a dime.
Well, and here's something else that I hadn't really thought of. I was talking with a friend on yesterday, Wednesday morning, about, we were just kind of kicking around everything that's going on and all the different potential opportunities. And I hadn't really, I probably had considered it, but I hadn't kind of stopped and focused on it. But he was saying, especially for the Olympic sports or the non-revenue sports, more so than football because of what you can do, and listen, these kids have opportunities like in wrestling over the summer to work different clinics, and they do get some money off of that. I don't know how that works now, but there was a time where they couldn't make a dime off of that. That has changed, but now they can. And you could do it. If you're a prominent field hockey player, you can go to a local high school, say, "Hey, send me your field hockey team. I'll put on a clinic, $10 a piece." I'm picking up the numbers, but for an hour, I'll discuss, the best way to get off a field hockey shot, or the best way to set up a defense or whatever. But you can do that as football. I think is like Penn State football camp is so ingrained in. I think it would be difficult for a couple of players to break off and have their own thing for football, and really even for basketball, because again, the same thing. Everything's so established right now with where those camps are. They're certainly well known, and Penn State has one of the wrestling camps. But again, these kids over the course of the summer now are looking for opportunities. I'm talking about like high school and elementary school kids to learn from other guys. So I think these guys will still be working some of the camps they are, but again, may take a Saturday or a Sunday and say, hey, here's a chance for me to earn a couple $100, throw it open and let 20 kids come in and roll around with me, or again, kick the soccer ball around or whatever. There's going to be some different opportunities there for the athletes that want to pursue that.
A friend of mine at home, I just saw on my phone before the show started, his daughter's a college softball player, and she's going to have weekend clinics for your local kids, young girls, high school girls, whatever. I mean, go ahead. Now, with that, I'm probably answering my own question here, but, football players, basketball players, they're spoken for 5-6 days a week. You know what I mean? So do you go to your hometown every Saturday afternoon and hold a clinic? I mean, that would be a great, easy way to make money, I think. And that sort of delves into my next point here. And, I want to talk about, I want to go back to the agent thing real quick. And I'm going to say this. And in the NFL, I know I'm jumping subjects, and I apologize. It's Tangent Thursday, I guess, now. Taxes. Taxes are going to be freaking crazy, man. Like, now think about these guys, and no one's going to know what they're doing, who they're doing, what they're doing. You're going to have guys are going to get sued because they're going to have breach of contracts because they're going to say yes, and then they're not going to do it or not show up. That's breach of contracts. There's a lawsuit there going on. And you got to worry about guys doing taxes. Are they filing their taxes correctly? Are they doing all this stuff correctly? It's insane when you start thinking about everything. Absolutely freaking crazy insane.
Yeah, especially when you think about the towns, like the one we're in, College Township. I mean, there is exactly. Entertainment tax or whatever, but I mean, they get a percentage of. If you're,
Gooch, am I blowing your mind right now, Booch?
Yeah.
I had thought a little bit about the tax thing, the whole breach of contract thing.
That's going to be huge.
Well, and to the point about locker room, not just locker room dynamics, but just what it does to the ability of your team to pay attention and focus. I mean, think about all the things you have to do as a college student, then all the things you have to do as a college football player, and then all the distractions that are involved with doing both of those things. And then all of a sudden, like, you're going to be in charge of managing your own contractual obligations and stuff, man. Oh, no.
Yep.
Yeah, good God.
Okay, so now we're past the professional agent. You want to go to a commercial or anything before we get into the locker room dynamics? I got all my notes right here, boys. All my notes. I've been taking them down here.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, let's do that.
I've been stewing for a week waiting for this.
We'll take a short break here, and then we will be back to continue to break it down and try to figure out as best we can what we think is going to happen and all the different ways that this is going to impact college athletics. But it's impacting the coaches, the athletes, but it's going to impact the fans too, right? And
it's going to turn a ton of them off, in my opinion.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. We'll pick this up too on the other side of it, is that relationship between fan and athlete now. Because if an athlete does 3 or 4 endorsements and then has a subpar season, right? Well, now I know. I mean, it happens all the time in pro sports, right? It's so and so had spent more time working on throwing the football instead of doing all those endorsement deals. By God, we'd be in the Super Bowl instead of sitting at home outside of the playoffs. And I mean, you're going to have that now in college athletics, and in some cases, I suspect it'll be a legitimate gripe, right? I mean, some of these guys are going to have their time. It's going to be like, well, nope. Now my time is being spent on trying to make revenue, not perfecting the craft that got me the opportunity to get the revenue. So we'll kick that around a little more as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show after this.
Coach, there's a constable at the door. He's here to serve Bruce with a lawsuit to breach the contract.
Oh, no.
The Spikes are home on Thursday for autocorrect night. It's a 6:35 p.m. game against Mahoning Valley, and gates open at 5:30 p.m. The first 250 fans receive a rubber ducky giveaway presented by Primanti Brothers, and autocorrect night t-shirts are available for purchase at Off the Rack Outfitters. And get it right, it's Thirsty Thursday too. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
Tell them Johnny sent you.
and remember,
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Chris Buchanani and yours truly here at Quaker Steak and Lube. The dear Goon joining us remotely. And again, so many different elements to this. And you know, I think a lot of positives. I think a lot of negatives. And just a whole lot of unknowns.
It's not great for the content machine, though.
Oh, my God.
We don't want to talk about the Phillies and Pirates. They ought to ruin college football every summer. Don't you?
Yeah, where has this been for the last 30 years when I've been having to talk about the misery of the Pirates, except for those 3 glorious seasons when they actually made the postseason. But anyways, but yeah, it is going to be interesting to see just kind of how the powers that be try to rein this in and react. And really, I don't know. I still don't know ultimately how this plays out in terms of the impact on, in particular, the non-revenue sports as a whole. As I talked about on Tuesday, I think this is going to lead to fewer opportunities, meaning programs will be cut. This will be one of a few contributing factors to programs being cut. But for the athletes that are still able to participate in these D1 programs, right, there's obviously going to be additional opportunities here. But, you know, I think trying to manage everything now, you're throwing another big log onto the fire here in terms of trying to manage everything. And, you know, Cal talks all the time with his kids about, you know, there are kind of 3 components to college life. There's the social component, the academic component, and the athletic component, and you can only be great at 2 of them. And it's, you know, you can pick and choose, but if you're going to be great, you got to zero in on a couple of them. To me, this kind of opens up a 4th, which is the business side of it. And I don't know whether you can be great, like a great student, truly perfecting your craft as best you can, and be out there in the public eye and capitalizing on all of the opportunities that are there, right? Like you've got to for the star ones, the star athletes, I think you've got to be a little selective here and not just try to cash in on every opportunity that somebody's given you, because again, there's only so much time in a day, and there's only so many opportunities you have to try to further your education and to again hone your craft and your sport.
Well, you're saying about your star players, right, and your star athletes and stuff like that. I mean, we'll get into the locker room dynamics in a little bit, but I mean, coming from a football player, you're going to want the pretty boys. You're going to want the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, the linebackers. So the guys who could be the stars, a.k.a. your offensive and defensive linemen, your grunts, they're not going to get what they should be getting, like a fair market value type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just life. We understand that as offensive linemen, but I mean, this is where the issues are going to start. I'm telling you, it's not going to be good for locker room, team morale, any of that type of stuff. I mean, I got a whole list of stuff I want to go through, just different scenarios of just what could go wrong. And my biggest one is, okay, I'm Sean Clifford, and I'm a star line. I'm Jesse Lucata, like defensive linebacker, right? You know, you're going to tell me that they're both being offered contracts by the same company. They're talking. Again, I don't want to use names. Just say Geisinger. Geisinger goes with the pretty boy quarterback. That's going to cause a little animosity in the locker room, let alone the offensive defensive thing, but just that whole, hey, he's got my money type of thing. And he sucks. You know, why he has have a horrible game, and why am I here not getting it? It's just mind blowing of what all could go wrong. Like, what could go right here, though? Let's look at it like that. What do you think is good about this, Jeff, Chris? I mean, I understand that we have gotten nothing for years, and I get it. They used our backs, but okay, I was given an education. You guys were not given. You guys paid for your educations. I was given an education. It's $150,000. Are we going to take that off of money that should be rightfully? Or I don't know.
Yeah, just real quick, two points on that specific thought, Goon. Number one, I always say this: the conversation around reforming college athletics gets shortchanged oftentimes by the people who are advocating for it, because they act like a free bachelor's degree is nothing, when in fact it is a ton. Because if you're an out-of-state student who comes to Penn State and plays out the totality of your 5 years, you got free and clear something valued at $250,000, and that's, because we're talking about housing, food, clothing, academic support. The football team has its own nutritionist now. You get all of that. Strength and conditioning training. Like, if I want to go out and I want to hire a personal trainer, that's going to cost me an arm and a leg. All free. And if you were not here on scholarship, most likely that cost would be coming to you in the form of compounding non-dischargeable debt. Student loan debt, which nationally eclipses consumer credit card debt, is the only debt you can't discharge via Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So you get it, and it follows you around. It is like a fart in an elevator. And to act like that's nothing it's just dishonest, and it screws up the whole conversation. And then the other point, and I got to credit my guy Kevin Horn on this for bringing this up on the podcast. Most athletic departments are not like Penn State. The vast majority of them, especially when you get out of FBS, are taking at least a portion of their general funds to fund their overall athletics budget. It won't surprise you guys to learn that in the Power Five, the two teams that are 1 and 2 for using the most general funds money to pay for athletics are, anybody want to take a guess? Power Five, number 1 and number 2.
Alabama, Clemson.
Rutgers and Maryland. So, no, Alabama and Clemson, they're like Penn State. They make all the money to pay for it themselves. Yeah. So if you start getting into even more financial benefit coming back to the players, especially if it's the case of the players getting paid directly, if the athletic department is already pulling money from its general funds, those are paid by student fees. So you are paying money directly to the guys who are already going to school for free, and you're paying it by raising prices on the students who are financing it with personal debt.
There's no animosity going to happen from that. None at all.
Not at all. Not at all. You just got, that's got to be an honest part of the conversation. Like, yeah, maybe they deserve a little bit bigger piece of the pie. I'm not denying that, but don't act like a free college education is nothing, because it's not.
Well, and the thing is, it's not just, and I'm with you 100% on the free college education, but it's even above and beyond that in terms of, and I'm not even, it's also clothing, meals, all of the other things that are included in there. But above and beyond that, it's also, if I go with a resume to an employer, right, and I have Penn State football player on that resume in Pennsylvania, I'm getting a little more attention than if, I was a student at Penn State and I really enjoyed my time there. Right? So that it does open
confirm.
Up, right? And I mean, it opens up all kinds of opportunities for you that aren't otherwise there, even above and beyond the education. But I mean, if you have that degree and you put on that, yep, I played for Penn State football for 4 or 5 years, that is that also helps open up some doors for you in terms of your livelihood and trying to support a family down the road. So that is also there's a lot of added benefit there, I guess, is my point. The other thing I wanted to just tack on to that point is, we keep a lot of the people that are attacking the NCAA, and I have no problem attacking the NCAA, but they keep pointing out that, the billions of dollars that are coming in. What they don't point out, like Penn State, yes, football makes a ton of money. And there are people that are, not doing a whole lot, at the administrative level that are capitalizing on that. But the majority of that money is going back into the football program and all of those other athletic programs to, for the facilities, for the scholarship, to cover all of the, whatever it is, 31, 32 sports now the Penn State has at the varsity level. And so it's not, I think sometimes they make it sound like, listen, these billions are coming in, and then, the Mark Emmerts and the, Sandy Barbers are keeping it for themselves. And, these poor kids are out there starving. That's not exactly what's happening. I mean, most of that money is getting distributed and supporting those athletic programs, and especially, as Bush said, in the Power 5 conferences. I mean, it's an arms race to try to get the best program in all of those sports that you can. And again, the funding is coming almost entirely from football and men's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, and there was always animosity between us and other sports, in my opinion, when I was a player. I mean, it was always like they're wearing the exact same sweatsuits that we have. Because when we took the Nike deal, every Penn State athlete got the same exact outfits, the same shoes, the same sweatshirts, the same shirts. And it was always like, there was a little bit of animosity, because it was like, we know we're paying for all of that. And then to give you a funny story is that in 1995, that my senior year, I guess that we were getting a little too pig-headed, and Joe thought we were getting too much stuff. He held back our package, our sweatsuit, shoes, sweatshirts, and all that stuff, and kept it as a bowl gift. And then double charged us and said, "You got to use your $500. Yeah, you got all this stuff." And I was like, every swimmer on this campus is walking around with this sweatsuit and sweatshirt and shoes on right now. We got to use one of our bowl gifts as one of these. And I was like, that was always bullshit. It pissed me off big time.
Well, that's an example I gave Ironhead on Tuesday that you're only reinforcing, Goon, which is like, what happens when you have the star player on the women's soccer team or the field hockey team, women's volleyball team? I think women's athletes are going to do very well in kind of the second tier of contracts as like Instagram influencers, right? Because it's marketing 101. that there are a lot of in the household, females make a lot of the purchase decisions. So you just look out there and see how many actresses and female singers, female spokespeople there are selling products. And then you think that you don't have to necessarily be a name commodity athlete. You need to play at a name commodity school. And all you have to do is, I said to Ironhead, in this case, it's like the name on the jersey is on front of the jersey is more important than the one on the back. You just have to say, I'm so-and-so of the Penn State women's basketball team. The person
Can you say that? I don't know. Question, can you say that?
Ooh, well, that's an interesting question. Well, okay, yeah. So let's just set that aside for a second. let's say that the deal comes through and you have non-revenue sport athletes making money off their association with Penn State. And most of the mucker and grinders, frankly, most of the guys on the football roster aren't going to be making anything. Nothing. That's only going to deepen that resentment because you're going to see somebody on a sport that you know you're paying for with your blood and sweat, and they're making endorsement dollars and you're not. That's going to create resentment. Let me give you another example real quick about resentment in the locker room because you've got me thinking about this. I think about Austin Scott and Tony Hunt.
That's mine. That's mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go talk about it.
Just if you think back to when Austin Scott was a high school senior.
5-star everything.
That guy was a superstar in high school.
I mean, this is not cutting you off, but they would have recruited him saying, we're going to give you the Saquon Barkley advertising package.
No question. He destroyed the state championship game. Sure. He was everybody who watched that game in Pennsylvania saw Austin Scott have one of the greatest individual performances in Pennsylvania high school football history, and he was coming to Penn State with all the fanfare. Nobody cared that we got Tony Hunt, right? Because we got Austin Scott. And so there are two things. There's the locker room dynamic, which is pretty obvious, but here's the other thing I've been thinking about. How much pressure does that put on the coach when the guy who has already cashed in on his high school celebrity to get deals coming right out of the gate when he steps on campus isn't playing as well as the guy who's been overlooked? That's got to put huge pressure on the coach who's making the playing time decisions.
No, what's going to happen when you're a 5-star player and you're a bust, they used to be able to you had to eat it. Now they're going to be like, now they're going to make it financially easier to get rid of somebody, in my opinion. It's just I just don't see the good side of it. I really don't. I mean, there's too much crap that can happen.
Here's one good side. This is like an after effect. But I saw this point made today, and I thought it was good. There's some guy, I forget what sport he played or whatever, but he can now go down and he's 21. He can go down and play the local open mic night, and make tips, which would get his eligibility revoked as of yesterday. And now you look at you can have a YouTube channel like that punter from UCF we were talking about on Tuesday. You can make a little money off your YouTube channel. Those kind of things that it was just always ridiculous you couldn't do as a student athlete. Now all of that is off the tip. So that's good. I think that's
another. I mean, I'm not going to be Debbie Downer, but I'm obviously. I mean, match being on half the loads at the Skeller and trying to negotiate. I'll sign a piece of paper if you give me a case of beer. I mean, come on. I mean, you're trying to negotiate deals. I mean, think about it. La Bamba, you give me 2 burritos as big as my head, I'll sign your wall. It's just nuts, man.
It's 3 a.m. You just won the Ohio State game. You're like, all right, listen, you clear my tab.
Yep.
I'm gonna take a selfie and post it to Instagram right now.
I mean, are we wearing patches of sponsors? Is that a thing?
No, I can't imagine.
I don't know. I'm asking.
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah, the uniform the school still have.
Okay, I did see one thing that.
I mean, I guess the school could have.
I'll tell you what, though, if I were playing basketball, I would absolutely be selling tattoos. Biceps.
Well,
big time.
But to that point, what if?
imagine like the star player has like a huge AT&T tattoo on his.
Well, so let's say but this is playing this out. So the school would still be able to say yes or no, or maybe even a conference. But how long is it going to be if the Pac-12 is tired of getting shut out of the college football playoff system till their ADs get together and say, you know what, we got to get more of the star players here. We're going to tell them they can put each one of them can go out and negotiate their own deal to put a decal on their helmet. You come to our school, you can do that. You can't do that if you go to Penn State or Alabama or, I don't know. I mean, it depends how far, and I don't know whether anybody, but yeah, maybe there's going to be a school that says, by God, we want to try to make sure that we're getting the best athletes in here, and one of the ways we think we can do that is we will allow you to maximize your profitability. Your jersey, it's a race car. You put on whatever decals you want, as long as you can see the number, we're good. Let's do it.
And then I did read that a clothing company, that we are sponsored by Nike, any other clothing company could sponsor one of our athletes they can't tarnish a uniform. I did see that. They can't wear it, but they can wear it off. They can wear it to the press conference. They can wear it or on their Insta. It's just so stupid. All right, let me get some more scenarios for you boys. Since we're getting ready to go to these scenarios here. The big dudes, little dudes we talked about. I mean, there's no doubt that big guys are going to get screwed in this situation. It always happens. The head-to-head for the sponsorship is really big thing. And I know we touched on it last week a little bit. We live, and Jeff, we've talked about this a lot, but we don't have the advantage of a huge market. We are one of the only, West Lafayette and Bloomington are the only ones that are comparable in the Big Ten. Most are big cities and have a lot of different sponsorship opportunities. We are going to be at a real disadvantage, in my opinion, athlete-wise. But what's going to happen when Geisinger drops Penn State and picks up the quarterback, running back, wide receiver combo?
Yep.
Now who's going to be mad then? There's going to be some
plan for that. Good.
Huh?
Well, I've got a plan for that. See, if the athletes are smart, what they would then do is they would go out, compete directly with the athletic department for the sponsorship dollars, and then sell them back to Penn State.
So they're going to squat. They can squat on them. I like it.
No,
a lot of our sponsors and stuff like that, they don't have the advertising money to do the university and now athletes.
Well, see, what I think Penn State should do proactively, because I'm being half facetious about selling your equity back to the school that's letting you play for it. But when Penn State renegotiates its corporate sponsor deals, they should look to incorporate sponsorship opportunities for individual athletes into the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should be able to say, so let's listen, we're giving Geisinger a ton of free advertising today, so let's just stick with it. If they're going to be a corporate sponsor of Nittany Lion Athletics, part of what you want to do is be able to funnel your athletes directly into sponsorship opportunities with your corporate sponsors. Now, you probably want to stay out of negotiating the specifics of the deal, but whoever their representation is, whether they got an agent or it's their dad or they're doing it themselves or whatever, you want to have a funnel that you can put them through, and Utz potato chips is going to.
What's to stop Nike?
Penn State athlete.
What's to stop Nike from Penn State saying, "Listen, guys, we're in a real disadvantage here. We need you guys to come through." All 85 guys on scholarship, and you need to give each of them $25,000. And that'd be a great deal, and it would be a smart thing to do. But then you're going to have the other schools going out there and getting $40,000 and $50,000 per player. It's just bad. I mean, that would be a smart thing to do. Go to Nike and say, "Listen, we're Penn State. We're one of your bell cows. We're at a significant disadvantage with advertising. We're going to be losing a ton of recruits. We need your help. Can you help us out?" And then the other schools are going to start doing it. It's just, I don't know. I believe this is the dumbest decision the NCAA has ever made, and that is saying a ton. And again,
the worst part of that to me, and I don't know that I disagree, is that it was a decision to just do nothing. Like, that's the problem, right?
We don't want to deal with this.
Yeah.
There's too much to deal with. We don't want to deal with this. Just go do it. And then we'll penalize you later because you're going to abuse it. And, I don't know. And then I got in the dark side of the locker room. Micah Parsons last year gets $25,000. Just I'm going to use his name because I don't like to use the current players. The D tackle, he needs some money. How many times have you seen relationships between friends end over money? I mean, family members don't talk to each other for decades over money. And this is what's going to happen. Micah, you got a big contract. Give me $50. Sean, I'm sorry, I want to use the player, but Sean, you just signed a $25,000 deal. Can I get a couple dollars? And then it's just so many things can go wrong so bad and just go astray so quick. Back to more.
There's just a lot of different elements that are in play, and again, we talked a little bit Tuesday, Goon, too, about just the most of these schools, like Penn State has the coaches show with James Franklin, and then the other coaches throughout the course of the year. If you're a competing radio station, right? Why would you not? Hey, yeah, that's cool that they have Franklin, but we have lined up Sean Clifford, Lucetta, and Keaton Ellis. They're all three going to be on every Thursday in that exact hour. Do you want the inside scoop from the coach who is going to be guarded, or do you want the inside scoop from the three players who are more likely to be a little more open about what's happening? I mean,
that's a hell of a point, Ironhead. That's a hell of a point.
So again, there's just so many different elements and angles here, and
it would have been just as easy just give everybody the same amount of money. Have the NCAA kick in a little bit.
Yeah.
I know that hurts the Olympic sports, Jeff, and I get that, but I don't know. That they make enough money already, they can make enough money to cover $3,000 or $4,000 for every scholarship kid. My opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. How would you divvy it up though, too? With the would you'd get 0.4 of that if you were on?
I'd say depending on your 9.9 scholarships, if you have a guy getting a half a scholarship, he gets half that money. In my opinion, that's just. I know it sucks.
Well, but the other to your point, and again, that's equal. I don't know that that's fair, because if you have a guy that's on half scholarship and he's taking that half scholarship because he knows the program, because he comes from a family that can afford, to pay some of the education, and that's the only reason he's doing it. And he's going out and winning a couple of national titles for you.
You know that better than I do. I mean,
I'm only getting paid $1,200, while the guy who's my a backup who's on 0.3 scholarship is getting a couple $100 less. And everybody knows me. I'm the face of the program, and you're telling me that and maybe there's another kid on the team who just the circumstances were he's making more. He got 0.7 scholarship because he's from a poorer family, but he hasn't panned out as well, and he's not a starter or not making All-America honors or whatever. I mean, I'd be more than a little resentment in that locker room as well.
I agree
in terms of how that gets. So I mean, there's no perfect answer. I'm not sure equal is necessarily the way to go. And I'm not sure what to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the answer is, because I do think there's a lot of different things that you have to take into account. But as Booch said, I mean, what have you been doing for the last couple of years, last several years, ever since the O'Bannon case, if you're the NCAA, besides sitting around and counting your money? Like get together, because you know that this is so complicated and there are so many different angles to it. Man, get something together so you have some preparation. I mean, when the Supreme Court comes to you and says, yeah, you are way out of bounds. Everybody from the most extreme conservative to the most extreme liberal and everywhere in between says, nope, you are out of bounds. And how do you not have any plan together?
Think about when the Northwestern players tried to form a union. I mean, would that not like strike something in your mind? Like, oh, we really should be talking about this and trying to get a game plan ready.
It's very complicated, and there's a lot of different things that need to be taken into account. But that's, again, if you're going to be making the millions off of these students' backs that you are, how about putting a little time in and trying to figure out some sort of a plan? And again, no matter what you do, I mean, it's kind of like COVID in that no matter what you do, I think a majority of people are going to be against it, because there's going to be 20% that think, like Goon does, that everybody should just be paid $3,000 a month and you're done with it.
No. I just figured that would just alleviate a lot of the issues.
But I don't know that it would. Because I think there would be every bit the issues. But whatever. I mean, but I'm saying there's not going to be a majority that agrees on any, because there's across the spectrum, right? There's all kinds of ways you can do this. So you're never going to get, I think, more than 30 to 40% behind any one plan. You might get, okay, we'll go with this, but you're not going to get enthusiastic support for any plan here, right? Because it's just, there's too many different options and too many different ways that people think that it should be done. But again, to not have a plan and not to get together and have some forethought here is really pretty stunning, and yet not surprising, because it is the NCAA.
That's why it's going to be dead within 10 years.
Yeah, I may be dead within 10 months. We'll see. That is going to wrap up our show for today. We'll see. I suspect we're going to have a lot more to talk about on Tuesday, because I think we're going to see a lot of things continue to unfold here over the next few days. So we'll cause even more questions and people seeing how this thing is actually going to start to play out. So we'll talk to you again on Tuesday. Our thanks to Quaker Steak and Lube and all of the sponsors once again for allowing us to continue the little program here. And again, we'll talk to you Tuesday. Until then, be good and be safe.
Happy 4th.
Happy Independence Day, y'all.
The Spikes are home on Thursday for autocorrect night. It's a 6:35 p.m. game against Mahoning Valley, and gates open at 5:30 p.m. The first 250 fans receive a rubber ducky giveaway presented by Primanti Brothers, and autocorrect night t-shirts are available for purchase at Off the Rack Outfitters. And get it right, it's Thirsty Thursday too. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia, or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,